Hey guys, Coach Pete here from Weight Loss by Pete, and here's our Thanksgiving special. I want to make sure that you are armed with the knowledge you need to have a healthy, happy Thanksgiving and not undo a lot of the progress you made. You know, a lot of people in this country are on diets, they're trying to lose weight, they're trying to be healthy, and unfortunately at this time of year, from Thanksgiving through to New Year's, there are a lot of studies out there that show the average American gains between 7 to 10 pounds in just this little over a month span of time. So it's important that you go into these holidays with a keen understanding of what's good and not off limits and what you should probably minimize or try to avoid. So I'm going to take you through the main basic things that almost every family has at Thanksgiving time. Obviously, I'm probably not going to cover everything you have. If there's something you'd like me to let you know about that I don't mention in this video, please leave a comment below and I'll be sure to answer it as soon as possible. So obviously starting off, we got turkey. Turkey is good. I wouldn't say you can't have any. In fact, have as much of it as you want if you want to stuff your face. I'd prefer to get an organic turkey just because you want to avoid anything with antibiotics and hormones. But the good news is in the United States, it's illegal to utilize that with poultry. So you should be pretty good off there. So feel free to have as much turkey as you want. Obviously, the preferred preparation methods are either roasting or baking. Try to stay away from turkeys that have been fried. All right, next up, mashed potatoes, a very common staple. I recommend substituting mashed potatoes with mashed turnips. I have this every year at Thanksgiving. The last couple of years, for the first time I ate it, it's actually pretty good, and same consistency. You're not missing much. The key difference is turnips are a low glycemic load food. They're not going to jack up your blood sugar. They're not going to stimulate the insulin resistance cycle, which is why a lot of people store fat. Our diets are very carb saturated. If you watched any of my videos in the past or watched my podcast with Coach Evan, then you know that's exactly how it works. Potatoes will jack things up beyond half a cup. Half a cup of mashed potatoes is not a lot. So if you feel you're going to want to eat a lot of things with similar consistency, I actually recommend creating mashed turnips over eating mashed potatoes. But again, that lucky number, half a cup or less if you're going to go the potato route. Green beans and casserole, those are usually good. Brussels sprouts in there as well. Some people even use kale. Those are all fine. You know, those are healthy vegetables. You're just, steaming them or baking them, whatever you're doing to create it. That's fine. Feel free to go ahead and fill up on that. Those are fibrous foods. They will fill you up, and it's much better than going to town on mashed potatoes. Butternut squash is another one that a lot of people like to use, and even they make butternut squash soup. My brother actually makes that for Thanksgiving. It's very good, and it's right on the border. It's between 48 and 52 on the glycemic index. That's okay. Feel free to have that. If you're indulging a little bit, it's better to have that, in my opinion, than stuffing or mashed potatoes. Next up, we're going to go over stuffing. Most stuffings are made with bread or wheat. I don't recommend using either in preparation of that. There are many recipes online that use things like almond flour and healthy alternatives in order to ensure that you're not, again, stimulating the insulin resistance cycle. That's what wheat does. Wheat is very high in carbohydrates, and that's how our bodies react. Also, it has no discernible nutritional value whatsoever to the human body. There's no point in even going there. All right. If you're going to have stuffing, you can either create a healthy recipe, or if it's not a healthy recipe, if you're not in control over the food, then have a piece. Don't have many, have a piece. Fill up on the healthy green vegetables and the turkey. Cranberry sauce, very high in sugar. Homemade versions are better than canned, obviously, or pre-made versions, but I recommend you try and stay away from that. It's almost like using ketchup or something like that to sweeten your food. Not recommended. Will have the same effect that eating a lot of mashed potatoes or eating a lot of stuffing will do. All right, so I try to minimize the cranberry sauce as much as possible. If you want to use it, have a spoonful on your plate, and once it's done, it's done. I'd stay away from it after that. Next, we move on to desserts. Pecan pie, apple pie, pumpkin pie, you name it. There's a lot of pies, a lot of cakes, a lot of desserts people make. The two key issues with these: one, sugar. There's a lot of sugar in pie. There's a lot of sugar in cake. There's a lot of sugar in most desserts. I try to stay away from that. If you're preparing these, if they're homemade, if you're in control, or even if you're not, and you're just bringing a dessert to somebody else's home, you can bake it with stevia, which will help sweeten it. It will not have any negative effect on your health or your waistline, and that is my preferred method. On top of that, also, we just talked about stuffing, same thing. People use wheat flour, wheat pie crust, bread, different things to make the crust for their pie. I don't recommend doing that. There are gluten-free and healthy ways, like almond flour is the number one that I recommend. Try to stay away from corn and all that other crap because that's no better. But almond flour is great. If you have a couple of days, if you haven't prepared anything yet, I recommend going to the store. Trust me, they're going to have that in stock over the standard stuff, and you'll be able to create something just as good. As Google a healthy recipe with almond flour for apple pie, pecan pie, whatever you're making. Obviously, ice cream, a no-go. You can make your own ice cream if you want with just some organic milk, some organic cream, heavy cream, and some stevia and vanilla extract. That's all you need to make it. It's not that difficult. It takes 35 to 40 minutes. You put it in the freezer and you can bring it with you or you can use it. But I try and stay away from that. The processed stuff, just like if you're on a diet or you're following anything, is stuff you want to stay away from. If you know that's what your household normally utilizes to create Thanksgiving dinner, I try to go the more non-processed route, using real whole foods to flavor it. At the end of the day, you should enjoy your holiday. You shouldn't feel like you're deprived, but you control what you put in your mouth. All right? You're the only person who can take this or take a fork or spoon and put it in your mouth. You make that decision. It is obviously difficult if everyone around you is eating it or if you really like the food, but trust me, you're going to be a lot better off if you eat the right foods on Thanksgiving, you stay away from the bad ones, and hopefully if you want to feel like you're enjoying it, you can enjoy it. You can have your cake and eat it too. Just use healthy recipes. I'm going to have a link below this video as well. If you're interested in my healthy recipe book, I don't have too many that are specific to Thanksgiving, but they're specific to everything. Appetizers, breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, you name it, it's in there. All right, there's like 60 recipes in there. Feel free to take advantage of that. And I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. I hope this helped you out. Feel free to check us out at weightlossbypete.com. Talk to you soon.